Meanwhile, clashes are escalating between Israel and Hezbollah on the border with Lebanon. It comes as the US tries to prevent the conflict from spreading across the Middle East.
In these tranquil lands not far from Lebanon's volatile border with Israel, it feels like war is creeping closer by the day. Many have abandoned the olive harvest they wait for every year. There are those who remain out picking the olives for a few dollars a day to feed their families. Across the southern frontier with Israel, more and more villages appear deserted. In the town of Marjayun, a few miles from the border, the streets are quiet, many shops now shuttered. About half of its residents have packed up and left. They've heard the fighting. It hasn't hit their town yet. But people here have seen it all before. Memories of the last big war with Israel in 2006 still raw. Nazira lived through that, Lebanon's civil war, Israel's decades-long occupation of southern Lebanon, and the country's economic collapse. This little bakery is all she and her family have to survive. We've been through enough. We've had enough. We're old people. Where do we go, she says. We brought up our families in poverty, and look at what we have to do now to live. We can't take any more. For the past 2 weeks, it's been a daily exchange of deadly fire between the Iranian-backed Lebanese paramilitary group Hezbollah and Israel. Attack and counterattack, mostly contained to a 3-mile area on both sides of the border. But the threat of an all-out war, calculated or inadvertent, is real. So real, it's already driven nearly 20,000 people out of their homes, according to the UN. In the southern city of Tyre, the disaster center is back up and running. They've had to deal with more than 6,000 who fled here. Local officials say as the fighting spills out of the red zone, all these now mostly emptied villages along the border, more and more are fleeing.
We're afraid that the number will increase. We hope it will not happen, but we have to plan for the worst thing. The Israeli enemy, we can't sleep. We have to be always sleep with open eyes, as they said.
Schools like this one have been shut down and turned into makeshift shelters. With the state barely functioning and Lebanon's majority now living in poverty, they just don't have enough resources to deal with the new crisis. Many here don't want to speak to us on camera. It's the indignity brought by displacement. Amal barely made it out with only the clothes on her back when a neighbor sent her a photo of the damage her house sustained. We've endured the economic situation, stayed in our homes, she says, in the land of our parents and grandparents, all that we've worked for. I just hope it calms down and we can go back to our homes. We cannot take any more. Israel and Lebanon say they don't want another war, but with tensions this high and the two enemies so close, everyone is preparing for the worst.